I got my new camera this week. And I had a lot of questions asking why I got this one. This is my A7R III. Come on. What is good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be teaching you lovely people how you can create a really cool vintage look in your photos. And one quick and effective way to do that is by using overlays. If you're ever in need of a quick video clip, whether that's a time lapse or an overlay or even an After Effects template, Storyblocks has you covered because they have a huge library full of super high quality content. If you get the unlimited access plan, you can also download as many assets as you want in HD and in 4K. The best part is that their content is royalty free, so you can use it for whatever your creative needs are. Like if you're a YouTuber like me and you're making tutorials, or you want to use it for some client work, Storyblocks will allow you to do so. I've actually been using Storyblocks for over a year now, even before they reached out to me, because I just really love their service and it helps me out so much whenever I'm doing video editing and I need an overlay or I need a quick drone shot. It is so useful for my YouTube tutorials or anything that I'm putting out for client work that requires me to use any special effects that I don't have time to get. Storyblocks has me covered. So if you'd like to learn more about Storyblocks video, hit the top link down in the description below. I'm not sure if any of you have noticed this, but in my recent Instagram pictures or just photos in general that I've been uploading to social media, I've been using quite a few old film textures, or I've been trying to edit them in a way that makes it look like the photo is a bit old-fashioned, using textures and adding grain to my images. Now recently I've come in contact with a photographer over on Instagram who lives so bloody far away from me. Literally, he lives on the other side of the planet. He's actually from Pakistan and his name is Humez. And I've just loved his photography. I love the way that he uses negative space in his images. It looks so cinematic. I love his use of color. I love the way that he uses text over the top of his pictures. I would highly recommend checking out his profile. He's actually really inspired me, actually, and I think he's got about 23,000 followers, which is nuts. I thought he would have had like at least 200k. So long story short, the other night I went out with Ollie and we went and took some pictures at Blue Hour. For those of you who don't know what Blue Hour is, it's about a 20-minute window between when the sun is completely set and it's nighttime and it's setting. So you've got about a 20-minute window where it's just getting to dark and the sky is blue and you get some crazy colors in the sky. We went out with the intention to make them sort of look old-fashioned-y vintage. I actually recorded some behind the scenes GoPro footage, but unfortunately I couldn't even bring up the exposure in Premiere. It was just a black grainy screen. You lot wouldn't have seen anything, and I didn't want to bore you with 2 or 3 minutes of just a black grainy screen and us talking. Like, you couldn't see anything, so completely useless footage. We literally went to a hill in a forest so we could just photograph the sky. So I was standing on the hill and Ollie was like underneath me shooting up at me, so we just got the sky in this photo. That was a lot easier for me to explain than showing you some absolute garbage GoPro footage. Before the shoot, we actually went and bought some matches and some cigarettes, which were the props, I guess, for the shoot. The reason why we got matches instead of a lighter is that when you ignite a match, it gives off like 1 or 2 seconds where the flame is really big and then it starts to die down. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna quickly run through a few of the settings that I think would help or benefit any of you guys who are editing on your own images to make the photo or your image look a little bit more vintage to start off with, and then we're gonna move into Photoshop. So you're gonna need Lightroom and Photoshop to do this. You can as well do this in Lightroom Mobile. It does help if the image that you are intending to give this vintage look looks vintagey beforehand. Here is my main photo that I'm gonna be editing. This is the one that I like the most, and I've also got one of these in a landscape, which I really like, but for the sake of the video, I'm gonna do this one. Here is the before. Now, the before photo is so much darker. As you can see, I've turned down that contrast by quite a lot. I've brought down the clarity and I've brought down the saturation. I've also put a bit of a fade on with a tone curve to give it that vintagey fade look. I've added a shit ton of grain. Like, don't be afraid to go mad on the grain. For this photo, works really well, but if you want to completely grain it out, then obviously that's personal preference. But for this one, about half 50% grain. Then what I've done is I've actually played around with the blue primaries the green primaries and the red primaries to make the sky almost look a little bit more aqua than like dark blue. And then I've also played with the oranges and the luminance on the oranges, turn that up a little bit, especially with the reds, because the reds and the oranges are both affecting obviously my skin tones. And then with the saturation, I've turned down that orange by about 14%, not really touched the red. I've turned down the blue because the blue, as you can see, if I bring it up, it looks very, very blue. So I've turned it down by like 62%. The funny thing about this is that you don't want this image to look really sharp at the end of the day, because you're making it look old. You're making it look like it's a picture you found in a World War II bunker. One thing that I've done in this picture particularly is I've actually brought down the highlights, because as you can see, if I bring those highlights up, it sort of blows my face out a little bit. So I don't really want it to do that. I kind of want there to be a nice highlight on my face where you can still see some shadow, but it's not too blown out. Bring down that saturation. You know, you want that image to be as desaturated as possible. Obviously with this picture, I kind of want to keep a bit of color in my face, a bit of orange, but not too much. Once you're done and you're happy with your image, you can either export it as it is, or you can open it in Photoshop, which is what we all love to do over on this channel. So now I've got this open in Photoshop. This is where Storyblocks comes in. I want to add a bit of texture to this. You can actually, if you want to go the extra mile, you can make your own texture, crumple up a bit of paper, put it on like a black surface, take a picture of that, put that in Photoshop, and you've basically made your own overlay. Or if you're like me, use Storyblocks. I'm gonna go over to the images category. Let's try old overlay. I like this. This is really, really sick. I'm gonna download that. They've got paper one here. That could work really well. Give that a download. And one more. Again, you can download as much stuff as you want if you've got the unlimited plan. Like, you can download all of these. I'm gonna go for those three. I'm happy with those three. Open the overlay separate in Photoshop, and then it's as simple as just dragging and dropping it on top of the image that you are gonna wanna vintageify. Let's call it that. As you can see, the overlay is a lot smaller than my picture, so I'm just gonna make that a lot bigger. I'm gonna go over to my blending mode and hit either screen or color dodge. I quite like color dodge. Let's leave it color dodge. And then I'll simply just turn down the opacity. So obviously, depending on what you want to do with the photo that you're editing, bring down that opacity, or you can even leave it as normal if you're happy with it. I think the best mode is either color dodge, screen, or lighten. They're the ones that you want to go for. So if you want to be a bit more saucy, you can add some text, which I think I'm going to do. I think for this picture, I'm maybe going to add some text at the top and have it say Blue Hour. Kind of make it look like a Western film poster or something. So let's put Blue Hour. I quite like this font as well, because I was looking at fonts the other day. I think I downloaded this one. And then if you just want to center that, and kind of have it, I'm gonna have it right here. And that is pretty much it. I've made it look a lot more old-fashioned by obviously adding loads of grain, adding that overlay, and that is pretty much how you do it. Well, that's how I've done it for this picture. And then what you're gonna wanna do is you wanna go over to image size. If this is going on Instagram, 2700, this is my export method, which I just always use. Hit OK, and then file, and then save as. Make sure you save it as a JPEG onto your desktop. Then I'll just airdrop it to my phone, or if you've got a Windows, use WeTransfer or Google or Dropbox or whatever. That is how I've used a really, really cool, simple texture over the top of my photo to give it that old-fashioned vintage style look that I think is got really popular recently over on Instagram. All right, and that is pretty much it from me. I hope you guys did enjoy, again, this Lightroom and Photoshop tutorial. I know I've been doing so many of these recently, but I really enjoy making them. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, rating, subscribe if you are new. If you decide to try this out yourself, send it to me over on Instagram, tag me, do all of that good stuff. I'll leave my Instagram down below, and I will see you all very soon in the next one. Take care. Peace.